Hola damas y caballeros, thanks for joining us and welcome to the 16th edition of Fight Like the Movies, the tutorial series where we study cinema's most epic fight scenes and employ what we discover to develop a deeper understanding of film combat. I'm your instructor TJ Cencula, and this week's lesson, The Mask of Zorro. A 1998 film directed by Martin Campbell, stunt coordinator Glenn Randall Jr. with swordmaster Bob Anderson. Roll it. I'm a lover, not a fighter. It's a popular phrase and everyone's heard it, but Zorro challenges such social implications and asks, why choose? In this sultry dance of the duelists, the protege and successor to the original Zorro faces off against that very same man's spirited daughter in what amounts to one of the most memorable sword fight scenes in cinema, and also one of the most sensual. The chemistry between these two fighters is palpable, and the sexual tension so thick you could carve a Z into it. The characters match moves blow for blow, and what started off as a genuine attempt to defend her adopted father's property morphs into a flashy fight, referring both to the blades and the wardrobe. As the main characters cut away at each other's garments, and remove their more cumbersome outer layers, the fight takes new shape. Or maybe rather we just get a better look at the shape without all those pesky clothes in the way. The anatomy of the scene reflects the very model of the legendary Zorro himself. Exciting, playful, adaptable to ever-changing circumstances, and uncompromising. Even though Hollywood maintains a long-standing tradition of using skin to distract from or compensate for other lacking elements, Mask of Zorro makes no such compromises with the swordplay. It combines the highest achievable level of small sword action with committed performers and the perfect punctuation of character, not only in the structured development of the scene, but the character development as well. The entire encounter is a thinly veiled metaphor for making love, replete with a literal romp in the hay, but with swords, making it, in my humble opinion, the best love scene ever! Zorro is such a master of romance with suggestion, innuendo, and the sword in his hand. He doesn't even need to resort to the sword in his pantalones. This spicy señorita and audiences are left with hearts pumping and short of breath. And his dancing partner is no prop either. Elena is every bit his equal, making her the perfect foil. And it doesn't hurt that she's pretty easy on the eyes, too. And to top it off, this scene supplies us with more critical information about these characters than any other scene in the movie. In fact, one might argue the entire film hinges on the audience's acceptance and approval of this one exchange. And true to form, Zorro always leaves the señoritas wanting more. We could learn a lot from Zorro when it comes to cinematic sword stylings, but that would only be half the story. Zorro epitomizes the ideal storybook hero. The only thing sharper than his sword is his rapier wit. And let's not underestimate the most persuasive weapon in his arsenal, charm. As for Elena, I bet she'd be a lot more flush in the face if she hadn't skipped all those haircuts. Conozcamos la clase. Draw your espada and prepare for action! I'm not gonna hide it, I love Zorro, and he has left the mark of his Z on my heart, and I was really excited for this class. As usual, we are going to reveal the cinematic secrets of sword fighting to you inspired by Zorro, but we're gonna branch out a little bit and also get into some romance. That's right, this fight is so much more than just super cool compound attacks with a very fast and light weapon. It is also the art of womanizing with weapons. I don't mind telling you that it actually happens to be how I wooed my real-life wife in the midst of a sword fight. Don't believe me? Check out that link right there. So we layered the fight in a few different parts. It starts out with somebody not interested in engaging in a violent encounter, but by the persistence and insistence of their counterpart, they agree. Either they could go the romantic route, and we would transfer the attack into a very epic dip, where they can stare longingly into one another's eyes. Or we could do a disarm, and there are many different ways to disarm your opponent. The one that we used for this one, it has us compressing the distance so that the characters are close enough to be able to reach each other with their non-sword hand. And this has to happen according to the order of operations. First, you control their guard. Then, you move your weapon through the space, and they remove their hand. But if you don't grab it before they let go, the sword falls. If you sweep your hand through before they let go, you hit them. This was really funny because as we were showing them, we showed the dip version first, and a couple of the dudes were looking at each other and they're like, disarm, disarm. So how do we cram this in from a technical standpoint? This fight has a little bit of everything. Zorro's weapon can be moved very quickly and is all about point control. I like to think of the sword as having a projected tip. So if you imagine attaching a laser pointer to the tip of your weapon and seeing where that goes, that's going to help you to imagine what your targets are like. And when you have a weapon that can be moved so fast, it's very important that you're really specific with your targets because of how brief a period of time the audience has to look at it. So what we did with this fight was to make sure our commitment to the target was true all the way through the completion of the intention so that it reads in the context of the story we're trying to tell. Well, that was certainly an eyeful. Special thanks to Jennifer Karras for joining me for the After Hours shoot. She is an amazing Elena, and I was very grateful to have her. That is a wrap. Alright everybody, you made it this far. The next step is to hit that like button, and while you're at it, why not go full frontal and subscribe? You can also connect with us on Facebook, see behind the scenes pictures, interact with the class, and stay up to date on all things fight like the movies. While you're at it, look us up on Twitter and Instagram at Warriors Showdown. And if you've reached the point where you're prepared to leave your own mark, come join us Wednesday nights, 8:30 to 10 p.m. at Swordplay Studios in Burbank, California. And we would love to make you the best cinematic sword fighting version of yourself possible. All skill levels are welcome. We'll see you soon. And cut.